So going back to 2017, a few of the areas I want to pull back to. So we have a growing digital sector, and we should be really positive about that. Hopefully everyone will agree in the room. Last year felt like a real year of building momentum. You know, we already have a thriving digital sector. We estimate that it grew just over 100 jobs to 2,750 people across the areas you see on screen. And you won't see that reflected just yet, perhaps from the middle of this year in the official government stats and the stats unit, but we went through all the detailed information from the stats unit already had from the population office, and we used the OECD definitions of the digital sector. And so you can see there's quite a sizable chunk of people in it already. And this figure doesn't include people who are working in IT roles in financial services, in government, which is potentially another 700 people in total. So we're already well on our way. We're seeing growth rates very similar to the UK, but obviously from a smaller start, but we need to build that up. And that growth has come from not just startups, it's come from existing companies here growing. Last year we saw C5 grow to 200 people. Talking the other day to companies like Prosperity 24/7, planning over the next couple of years to double in size. JT has made major investments in growing its team focusing on IoT here on the island, and we'll hear more about that later on. And it's worth saying, talking about some of the good news stories here. I can't give the full details, but I'm really pleased to say that an agreement has been reached for the acquisition of C5 by a local owner. It will be locally controlled, and I've met with the owners, the new owners, and they'll be announcing it shortly. And that shows a real confidence in the digital sector here. So watch that space. But we have seen startups grow. We've moved from we had about 12 startup desks in the hub originally. We expanded those to 26, and they're now virtually full all the time. But the good thing is you'll see them coming through the hub. They come into the hub, they meet other companies, they set up joint ventures, they outgrow the hub, and they go and get offices elsewhere. That's exactly what we need for the thriving startup scene. And also our membership's expanded, if you see, not just at an individual level, not just small businesses, but I'm really pleased last year with the corporates, not just the technology people, but banks joining. You know, financial services industry, because obviously digital is not sector specific like finance or tourism. So it's been great to see a wider group of companies in Jersey, representing some really major employers, get involved in what we're doing at Digital Jersey. Education and skills last year. So the hub carries on teaching. You saw the figures for the graduates from the various courses, and you go to the hub in the evenings, you'll be able to see people working on various courses, the coding program, digital marketing, data analytics. As I said in the video, it really had to be seen to see the hackathon we had, the last youth hackathon. 50 kids working overnight in the hub, presenting ideas for, you know, apps, games, backpacks, interactive teddy bears to help young kids with mental health problems. You know, these were all secondary school kids working in teams, coming up with amazing ideas. And one of the things we have to do, and I felt some pressure, I must admit, that we've got to create the careers for these kids as they leave school, that they can stay in Jersey and use those ideas. We talked as well about the Jersey Skills Show. It was great to see so much support from our members to put together a really strong digital skills section, and I'm really grateful for my team putting together a fantastic digital careers booklet aimed at people of all ages. And I'd recommend, if you want to see that, it's on our website. Really great at showing not only kids but parents what is available. And we're really pleased that we're able to work with the Department of Education ahead of the launch of Skills Jersey on the digital element of the skills strategy. And that again was working with members in terms of the requirements that they had, giving a lot of feedback. And that's obviously going to be a key focus of this year. On the fintech side, I'm sure they wouldn't mind my saying it, but 2017 I felt was the year that Digital Jersey really cemented its relationship with both Jersey Finance and the JFSC. And it was great to see our teams working closely together. In terms of the JFSC, it was mentioned on the video that they came to talk to us about how we could work together to help both clients of the JFSC and the local tech industry get ready for the new reporting requirements online for the beneficial ownership registry. And I think it's great that actually that went really smoothly. We work together very well. And one of the great things that came out of that is actually a few new startups grew out of that to provide those services to financial services clients here on the island. And I'll talk in more detail, but actually it was a real privilege to be invited to join with Jersey Finance, the JFSC and the government, working as part of the McKinsey Strategic Review to look at the impact of digitisation on the finance industry, both the opportunities and threats. And it showed in the video, but I wanted to come back and focus on this. We had a fantastic artificial intelligence retreat working with an organisation called Cognitive Finance, where we had 30 experts fly in from around the world and an audience of about 120 people here in Jersey. And that really felt like the beginning of a journey we're going to have to go on to embrace and understand AI. Because if we don't do that, we likely become a victim of it. So we really have to get to the forefront of artificial intelligence, because it's not a science fiction thing, it's not Blade Runner, it's actually about automating a lot of the jobs that we have, like many other economies here in Jersey. On the IoT side, you've obviously seen that we did a lot of work last year with our members, with the infrastructure owners here in Jersey, and we understandably and quite rightly had to really make the case to get the government funding we're very grateful for to build the IoT lab this year and build the data platform. And of course, no review of 2017 will be complete without mentioning pay by phone. And it's not just my obsession. Honestly, I wasn't really interested in parking until I came to Jersey. It's just a weird thing since I got here. But the reason I put it up there is I think sometimes companies and government are fearful in Jersey of resistance from consumers to using new technology. And the lesson I think we can learn from pay by phone is that not only did it roll out very quickly, once we got it out there and trialled it, Department of Infrastructure's hard work to do that, but actually pay by phone told us that they'd never seen a more rapid take-up in any other location. So I think that should give us all confidence that we can try things out, we can experiment, we can push out new services using new technology, and the citizens of Jersey will take to them confidently. So turning to 2018, we're going to carry on providing the industry support we have been providing. The Hub is going to carry on providing support to the digital community with a particular focus on startups. That's one of the most important things we can do in there. As well as the digital licensing scheme for key staff. This year, we've just launched our new startup licensing program, where companies can come to us either on island or off island that wouldn't normally qualify under the existing rules for startup. They're maybe not paying themselves a salary for the first year while they get the business going. They'll be able to apply. We've worked very closely with government, been very supportive about this, because this is the sort of thing we need to do to actually get the economy going on the digital side and small businesses. And we're going to be working closely with the government on a range of issues, whether it's policy changes in social security, again, to make it easier for those people starting up businesses, maybe not taking money out of the company. We're doing something about the funding of maybe product development for those startups. We have to do something about funding here. Counterintuitively, Jersey is not a great place for startups to get funding. We have to do something about that, and I know we're going to this year with the government. But we all have to realise that we have to get behind the government in doing this, because this is what governments do all around the world, and Jersey should be no different. We're working with governments. They made a commitment within the digital policy framework published last year to look at how they can review their procurement policy to give local companies better opportunities to win a greater share of the spend that government is understandably going to be making on technology. And as I said, we're going to be working closely with the government stats unit to make sure that in future, when you see the measurements of the different pillars of the economy, you're going to see digital accurately represented. Because if we don't have that, it's very difficult to measure the impact of our activities and our policies. On the IoT side, some of you may have heard of an organisation in the UK called Nesta. So let me get this right. National Endowment of Science, Technology and the Arts. Is that right, Dave? You're involved in them. Good. So they published a very interesting paper called A Practice Guide to Innovation Teams and Labs. And what they said, and this might be counterintuitive, is that for innovation to thrive, companies and people need physical spaces. They need support infrastructure in which to operate. And in Jersey, we've been very lucky to have the Digital Jersey Hub now for 3 years. And if you go to the hub, you'll see those desks filled, the hot desks full of members coming in and out. We'll see the meeting rooms being fully occupied, hub pretty much at capacity, whether that's companies having meetings, whether that is talking to investors, whether that's actually organisations like government working with industry on projects such as the Digital Health Strategy. We've also got the fantastic Barclays Eagle Lab in the Jersey Library, having a different focus on creative technologies. And as part of the education department, that's been able to introduce schools to that technology as well. And as you will have read, we're going to be opening an IoT lab in the JT South Exchange in Red Houses. Now, doesn't that look like a high-tech installation? So what I'm pleased to be able to say today is that the Digital Jersey Hub and the Barclays Eagle Lab will soon be joined by the Digital Jersey Exchange, or DJX for short. And that space, a bit like the hub but with a different focus, will again have permanent desks for startups, hot desk members. It will have workshops for the development and testing of sensors. It will have a presentation suite and video wall, so when we bring people in from off island to see what activities are going on in Jersey, it's quite impressive, and an event space as well. And my personal hope, and you can sort of see what I'm doing here, is that DJX will be a destination in that area in the same way that JER is only a short distance down the road. Yeah, it didn't really work, that one, never mind. It works better on paper. And for anyone who is a bit cynical, because I know this is the odd one I know here, about why would big technology companies come to Jersey to use us as a test bed. So I'm really pleased to be able to tell you that later on today, JT are going to be issuing this press release talking about the work they have been doing in Jersey with Sony to test a proprietary IoT network that Sony have been developing, and they've only tested it in 2 locations around the world. One is Japan and the other one is Jersey. And that came about not only because of JT's fantastic off-island reputation, but also because when we launched the first IoT network, the LoRa network here, we did a bit of off-island PR, and Sony came along and saw someone from JT in a conference, said, you know, look, we'd never thought of Jersey in a million years to test this, but when you mention it, it sounds ideal. On the fintech side, as I said, we're going to be working closely with those partners throughout this year. You'll have to wait, and I'd recommend going along to the Jersey Finance event next month to see the full details of the output of the McKinsey Strategic Review. But what I can say is we are going to be working closely with our partners to develop a strategy for digital skills in the finance sector as well as the digital sector, to create a fintech ambassador function to attract fintech companies to Jersey as a great place, I said, to test things, and with a world-class regulator to work with, and also to help local companies to export the fintech services that they're developing every day here in Jersey. And talking of our world-class regulator, we're going to be working with the JFSC to establish a fintech sandbox here in Jersey, as you've seen in many other jurisdictions. And we're going to also work with industry with a particular focus on, as I said, educating the industry, looking at opportunities to test and develop services in AI. I'm not going to talk too much about digital health side, because you're going to hear from Jason later on. But obviously, this year, Digital Jersey is going to carry on supporting the rollout of the Digital Health and Care Strategy. We're particularly looking forward to working with HSSD on the Innovation Council, which is a council comprised of people within the health sector, Digital Jersey and others, to look at how ideas can be received, whether internally or externally, to be taken through and tested in our health system here. And then education and skills. So I've talked about what we're going to do with the hub. I've talked about what we're going to do about implementing the skills strategy. But what I'm particularly looking forward to this year is implementing the recommendations of an organisation we were working with towards the end of last year. And that's the Marchmont Employment and Skills Observatory at the University of Exeter. Now, they worked very closely with the education department on the skills strategy itself, and we commissioned them to do some additional work for us as well. And what they did is they spent time talking to industry, understanding the skills requirements now and in the future for the digital sector. They looked at the quantity and quality of IT-related teaching in Jersey. And what they put together for us, and be pleased to know I'm not going to go through every line of that, is what they call the Jersey Digital Skills Escalator. And what they said is, well, you've got some great things in various places, but if you are going to have people progressing from schools all the way to employment, there are some gaps as well. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that I actually think this side of it will probably be the most important thing that Digital Jersey can work on this year. And the most important element of that, and I know it's going to be the hardest, is to address the gaps we have on the higher education side. Because we need to set up something like a digital skills academy in Jersey. There are examples of this in other jurisdictions even smaller than us. Hopefully you can read up here. The Isle of Man last year raised financing from both the public and private sector to take over an old nunnery to create a combined IT campus and business centre. And my view is, if the Isle of Man can do it, what's our excuse? We've got a lot of work to do, but I think this is going to be really important. And if you want to understand why this is so important, why there is a risk that our burgeoning digital sector could be strangled if we can't get enough skilled people here, is the work we've done back to the OECD definitions. We've looked at the OECD definition of a highly skilled workforce's degree, education and above. If you look at the figures in Jersey, I think from the last census, Jersey was about 21%. And to put that into context, if you compare that against the same figures from 330 cities and regions across 17 EU countries, that would place Jersey in the bottom 15%. Now, it's completely understandable we are in that position. We don't have a university, so we lose the bright 18-year-olds that are always going to go away. We don't gain them here to study. I think also we don't have the widest range of career pathways in Jersey, so if somebody studies something abroad, they're not necessarily going to come back and be able to pursue that career here in Jersey. And actually, we've had a successful economy with a very successful finance industry, and it's been quite easy for school leavers to walk into a good job with good prospects and a good salary in the finance industry. But my view is we need those skills taught here on Ireland, not just to support the digital sector, but to support things like retraining if automation, if AI does affect the jobs market here in Jersey. And I would actually go one further on this. I actually think we need to not only have these opportunities to teach local kids those subjects, but also we have to attract students here to study. I think having a student population here would be great for all sorts of parts of the economy, not just the digital sector. What are they going to want? They're going to want jobs in the evenings, weekends, and in holidays, say in the hospitality industry, in bars and restaurants. But of course, that is going to take investment in housing, in accommodation, in halls of residence and things like that. So I am conscious this is an important, but it's a big plan that's going to need a lot of work. Finally, I've already alluded to this slightly when I talk about Jersey as a sandbox. Now, it's been interesting. We're looking at IoT, and I'm sure Joe will talk about this later on. We've got to really think in Jersey about what is our proposition? What do we need to shout to people about? Why should they come here? And when I and some of the team went to a Smart City conference in Barcelona before Christmas, you can see everywhere is pitching themselves as a smart city or even a smart island. There was a massive stand at this exhibition in Barcelona from Andorra, which is even smaller than Jersey. So how do we differentiate ourselves? Now, actually, what you see is nobody is offering a whole country as a sandbox. And the great thing in Jersey is we have all the components of a much larger country, but packed into a sort of campus, a large campus of 45 square miles. So whatever people want to work and whatever they want to test, you can do it here in Jersey. You've got the accessibility. We can get the right people round the table very quickly. Very supportive government, very supportive infrastructure owners, very supportive organisations. And so one of the things we're going to be doing this year is starting to shout about our advanced telecoms infrastructure that people can use. Start to shout about the features of Jersey that make us such a good test bed. And we'll hear a bit about that later on. But just as a bit of a preview, I wanted to show you, this is just very much a work in progress, to give you an idea of the sort of way we think we should be representing Jersey a bit differently. Now that really is just a proof we put together really quickly, but one of the things that we found interesting is that when you look at the way we market Jersey abroad, Visit Jersey do a fantastic job with some stunning imagery of nature, of the beaches, of the water. You know, we see Jersey do some great imagery for, say, the high net worth target audience. But how many times do you see are representing Jersey as having a thriving city with modern office blocks, with full fibre to the island, which no one else around the world really has? You know, how often do we see ourselves promoting Jersey as a great place, not just to visit, but to live and to work? And I think actually we've got a lot to show in Jersey, and we want to try and engage with organisations outside Jersey to say, actually this is a great place to come and test things, come and work, come and set up a business. Some of those people will come in and test and they will go away again, but hopefully act as ambassadors for Jersey. Some of them will come here and think, actually this is a great place to set up a business. So we've got an election coming up, I think, haven't we, this year? And first time for me, so I've yet to experience what it's like, so don't spoil it for me. But we do intend, while there's discussions and manifestos being created, to make sure the needs of the digital sector are represented. So this is still a work in progress, but Digital Jersey is going to produce a digital manifesto. What we need from the next government in terms of securing Jersey's digital future, in terms of diversifying the economy, increasing productivity, improving skills, and actually also using technology to ensure an inclusive society. We don't want to leave people behind. And we're going to talk about what we need in terms of strategy and leadership across both the private and public sectors, the investment we need in local innovation, the investment we need in technology, education and skills, and how we get that inclusive digital society. So watch this space over the coming weeks, and hopefully this is something we can discuss not only with politicians ahead of the next election, but with the Council of Ministers that follows it. And also, technology is already going to play a bigger part in the next election. Some of you may have heard the Chief Minister refer to this in the Assembly recently. So thanks to the Digital Jersey coding programme, supported by the state's GREF, we will shortly be launching a version of They Work For You in Jersey. They Work For You, apologies, there's quite a lot of detail on that screen, is a way of citizens being able to review in a very easy format the voting record of the politicians they had voted in before the next election, looking at the sort of things they vote for, the sort of things they vote against. And I have to say, I did check this as well before it went up, as you can imagine. And I want to thank the Chief Minister not only for being very supportive of this, very supportive when he came along to present, as he's now done the last 2 cohorts of Digital Jersey Coding Programme, present the graduates their certificates. He was a great supporter of this, and he did volunteer to actually have his name up there as well. But he did say keep the font quite small. No, he didn't, honestly. Honestly, he didn't. So, as I said earlier on, we're publishing today our detailed business plan for this year and our review of 2017. You can go to 2018.digital.je, and I'm reliably informed it should be available hopefully from now, almost, from 10 o'clock. And as I said, if you've got Q&A, I'm sorry we've not had time, people have burning questions today, go onto LinkedIn, go into our LinkedIn group and join the conversation there. Make a comment, ask a question, either of the Digital Jersey team or one of the speakers. You might not want to ask Dave, God knows what you'll get back. But I want to end by saying thank you to all the people that have gone in producing this. It's all been local talent, all the videos, all the design, all been local. As I said earlier, we have a fantastic digital creative sector. I want to thank all of the people, most of which are in this room, for supporting us over the last year, and I know you're going to support us this year. But the thing I want you to take away from this is, I hope we've demonstrated that this is a compelling strategy, a compelling vision. This stuff's important. Now, I've only been in Jersey just over a couple of years. It doesn't always feel like it. It's a mad place, but I love it. And I want to protect the future of Jersey. Jersey's had a fantastic economy, fantastic performance. There's no reason why it can't do that. But like Jersey has in the past, it needs to adapt. It needs to evolve. And technology is an area that we have no choice but to embrace. And we have to have a digital future. And I ask all of you in the years to come to help us do that. Thank you for listening.